for anything you did wrong. So anybody doing anything wrong could come here, be forgiven, and then go back to wherever you came from. It wasn't that easy, however. Well, you have to go through a bunch of Hawaiian protocols, and in time, you were able to go back to wherever you came from, no reprisals whatsoever. Pretty neat concept. I always wish I could find that sacred place, that place. So you want me to back up? You take another picture? So this is our, it was very extensive. 1863, built by the Judd family. So all of this area, no trees whatsoever. This was a sugar plantation from 1863 to 1871. This was the warehouse right in this area. Again, from as far as you can see of these planes, all hidden from above. And I'll show you some really neat photos as we go down the road. So we had 13 of these bunkers to protect the planes. We had 5 of these. This is where the ammunition was kept for the troops and for the aircraft. And this here was the base of a 2-story high observation deck, where 3 people sat on the top, 2 directed the planes coming and going. The 3rd person was the one that was the lookout. Any enemy aircraft or any ships, he would sound the alarm. Everybody go with his spread. From 1942 to 1945, they protected the East Coast of the Hawaiian Islands, and that is the 1,500-mile stretch. Now this on my left-hand side, this is called Battery 302. During the 1942, it started to be built, completed in 1944. That round circle there, we just passed on the ground. And this one here, when it was completed in 1944, this is called a shore defense. Its job to ensure that no enemy ships came in this area. So they put 2 guns here. These 2 guns came from a ship or ships that were severely damaged on December 7th. So by 1944, the military hauled those 2 guns, 1 gun here, 1 gun there. These 2 guns had a 6-inch diameter round, 4 feet high, could hit any target 15 miles down at sea. So 1 gun could fire, it's a 6-man operation, each gun. 1 gun could fire 1 round downrange every 15 seconds. Again, any target 15 miles down at sea, it was like we say, aloha. So if the 2 guns fired simultaneously, 8 rounds downrange, if they interlock their fire like that, nothing could pass. And I heard they were very, very accurate. Only problem is they saw no. We use no artificial fertilizer. Everything is natural. Okay, all our beef is natural. In other words, they're grass-fed, no grain whatsoever. But this area, Ka'ama. During the war, this is where the cows were hidden. Some of the cows were hidden because they had to vacate Kualoa because it was run by the military. So they brought all their, well, not all. All is mounted on the 4,000 acres that the ranch owns. Below that, we call that Hakipu. On December 22nd of 1880, the ranch, Dr. Giles Chudd's son, was the one that purchased that at a public auction for $5,215. Some of our cows that we hid it there as well. If you take our Jeep expedition, anyone? Today? Well, if you do, that is where you'll go. Okay? So the bus goes here, Jeep goes there. Horses come here, ATVs come here, and some of the horses go there. But otherwise, that's where you'll go, Jeep expedition. This is the commercial property. So this is the ranch property, commercial property. This is not part of the 4,000 acres. We do a lot to keep this area looking the Samoa, Tonga, Tahiti, and the Marquesas. We're all Polynesian. We are classified because we eat and we look alike. We eat the same foods. Our stop Jurassic Park. You guys want to get up and take some pictures? Okay, this is a TV series. This is 2004 to 2011. It's called Lost. It's about a plane that crash lands on the Pacific Island. 13 survivors are constantly being harassed by wild boar, invisible monsters, and polar bears. Polar bears on the Pacific Island give me a break. Well, anyway, so what happens here is Hurley, the funny guy of the 13, so he finds 2 golf clubs, makes his 2-hole golf course right up here. Hurley's 2-hole golf course in the TV series Lost at $2.5 million to $3 million per episode, covering the years 2004 to 2011. Now, this was another very popular movie in Hawaii, and the main actor leaves us his calling card. And he said he's going to come back again, and what was his calling card? His footstep. This is Godzilla's footstep. Godzilla comes down from a mountain on the top, 1 footstep there, 1 here, 1 there, another 1 there. Panamanian village is built up here, completely destroyed by Godzilla as he goes through. And you can see some really neat shots of how it looked during the filming when we go to Barry Cooper. Now, if you look at the 4 footsteps, you see very little to no grass. That is because Godzilla was radioactive. You don't have to worry. This bus is lined with lead, so you won't be radioactive when we get through with this trip. Our fire guys will pull on the side and not destroy those homes there. Yumi and Dupree, Kate Hudson, Matt Dillon, Owen Wilson. Very funny movie. About a young man that comes to Hawaii to participate in a wedding. The only problem is he goes to the wrong island. The first 15 minutes of that movie made here, right here on this island. He is the best man, Dupree or Owen Wilson. However, well, you can't get married unless they, the whole movie is trying to find out where he is. Now, but that was a really funny movie. This one is hysterical. You see on the slope, you see that stone pyramid there? That is from the movie Aztec Rex. That movie was about the Aztecs fighting off the dinosaur. Now, I told you we had 61 movies made on this property, and only 1 went broke. Guess which one? That one. That one made no money whatsoever. Very few people went to see it, and I bet my paycheck that none of you have ever seen that movie as well. I rest my case. Okay? Aztec Rex. 51st State, Drew Barrymore, Adam Sandler. This is the road that Drew Barrymore would drive home every day in that movie. Again, another very funny comedy. Adam Sandler falls in love with this young lady, Drew Barrymore, and knows that this is the road she drives home. So what he does, he does a couple of really silly antics. Gets his pet penguin, puts it right here, hoping she'll see the penguin, stop to talk to him. The only problem is, she's daydreaming, runs over that poor penguin. Causes a fake fight with his friend Ulu right here in this little area right here. So she doesn't know what's going on. Stops, grabs a bat, chases Ulu down this ravine and beats the heck out of him. But again, another funny. But this one is more serious. This is Wind Talker. Wind Talker is about the United States Marines drafting Navajo Indians, 420, two to be exact. And they draft these Navajos because they felt that their Navajo language was so old, so obscure, that if they trained these Navajo draftees to be the Marine radio operators, that the Japanese would be unable to decipher what one Navajo was saying to another Navajo using the Navajo language and using a special code they call the Wind Talker code. Nicholas Cage, Adam Beach are the 2 main actors. We had 720 extras here, dressed as Marines and Japanese. We had 2 authentic World War II tanks. They had 250 major explosions. They recreated all the blank ammunition and all the explosions going on. Now, this Navajo code was used during the Second World War, Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Never broken by any of those groups. So it's being used in special ops by the Marines today on certain occasions. And we'll take a long stick, 12 inches long. Take the meat of the nut, stack it on the stick 2 inches apart, light it, our Hawaiian candle. We had no candles then. We call it the kukui nut. When the Europeans came, saw what we were doing with the meat of these nuts, they gave it the name candle nut tree. So this is the candle nut tree. But you can take the nut, crack it open, take the meat, dip it in chocolate, give it to your friend. Just make sure that they're on the toilet, because this thing is the mean laxative, man. In goes the meat, out comes everything else. If you're not prepared, how embarrassing is it going to be? This is called a hale. These are typical Hawaiian houses that the Hawaiians did live in ancient times. The back is the original frame, and they covered it with a grass that was waterproof. We call it pili grass. One door in, same door out, no windows at all. Very cool during the summer. So that when it rains, at least their flooring wouldn't be soggy. The Maka'ainana, the common people, build their house right on the ground. And the Ali'i, or over the islands, introduced the goat and the cat. The first cow, the second European animal, this guy right here. No, not this one, but some very similar to them. This is called the Creole breed. Captain George Vancouver in 1793 introduced 5 of these and a bull as a gift to the man who just conquered the Big Island by the name of Kamehameha. We call these our Longhorns. So from 1793 to 1850, these are the types of cows that roam the Hawaiian Islands. Now, on my right-hand side, up on the hill, that is our cattle. Okay, none of them have horns. We call those poles, P-O-L-E-S, because that's the type that have no horns. We like no horns because sometimes we have to act like cowboys as well, and we prefer the no horns because we don't worry about getting bored. Now the cow, I sampled a little cup. I know that the juice of this thing, raw like this, very sour, very bitter. Drinking 3 beers, and after that, who cares, you know? But check with your doctor first. That here is from the movie that looks like our chiefs, our rulers. So the Hawaiian thing goes that the gods, the Akua, put the Ali'i.
See that movie?
Yeah.
Good.
How are you doing here?
This is the one that's in the bag. No, that was
Where we see that?
Well, we noticed coming in from the one side, it said the rink.
It goes a little further there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we've seen the sign and we thought, oh, we didn't realize it's that there.
It's a big, you can see all this here. You all by the same time.
heard of that one. Never heard of that one. Very crazy sequel.
But it, still way back there.
아까 사진 찍어냈던 곳이 이 장면. 콩나물 밑에 순탕.
Dennis, that's the secret island of Molly Fish Pond. That's one of their corns. Aerial view of the airstrip.
바닥에는 옆에 내리는 철근들을 더 깔아놔서. 근데 이거도요. 그다음에 속도.
Is a small Hawaiian word for small lizard. However, we affectionately nicknamed it Chinaman's hat. 1852, 200 Chinese men were allowed to come to Hawaii in support of the sugar industry. These were bachelor men. There is a 5-year contract, being paid $3 a month. How would you like to work for wages like that today? Well, anyway, when they arrived in Hawaiian Islands, they got off the boat. All 200 of these bachelor Chinese men they're on trial when they